The world is ending, but these two goofballs don't care. Taylor and Kyle Opalk aren't here to help you. They're here to talk about nerdy stuff. Welcome to the apocalypse. Okay, Taylor,
Yeah.
you know what we watched today? Or not today.
No, we
Before
did.
today.
Yeah, we watched it together.
Just got done watching it. It's going to be 28 weeks later. And
Dude.
also, one thing I want to say before we get going is, even though fucking nobody listened to our podcast last week, which sucks because it was actually a really fun one. I think people would like it. But
that was so much fun too. Fuck the algorithms, bro.
What I wanted to shout out Jake, because Jake Johnson is the one who made our intro, and I rudely did not say anything about it last time.
You are the best.
But
kind
at
of
the
friend.
same time, he didn't fucking listen, so, you know.
Oh, actually, so take it back. Bleep the name at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah.
Edit his name out. So
Well,
he knows that he was not credited. We will not credit him.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, Jake Johnson is not being credited here with making a really cool little intro for us. Yeah, today, 28 weeks later. This one, man. I regret not going in order, too, because we did 28 years later. We were excited to watch the new one, and then we're now going backwards, and presumably, I would bet we go to 28 days later next. But, I wish we like really podcasted this correctly.
Well, now the other option is to then wait until Bone Temple comes out, and then do the 28 days before, and then Bone Temple. I'm just saying, there's some SEO shit in there.
That would be so fucked up, because it's years back to weeks, then to the sequel to years, then back to days.
Hey Kyle, have you met us? We're pretty fucked up, dude.
So,
we're twisted.
Ignoring, moving on. 28 weeks later. Let's get the reviews out of the way. What did you give it?
All right. I want you to just guess. Am I positive or negative on the movie? That's all you got to say. You don't have to justify it. Just here's what you think.
Based on the one sentence you sent me, saying you had a lot to say, I'm going to guess leaning negative.
Damn it. I shouldn't have said anything. Yeah,
Well, if I have no context at all, then I don't know. If I'm trying to think about it, I would guess you had a similar reaction to me, where watching it after so many years of not seeing it, it struck me as being way worse than I remember.
I was actually I went in wanting to like it more because I was like, I bet you Kyle is doing his classic, like, well, logically, that rock face would have really stopped them from falling, and I wouldn't care, and it would have been fine. But then I was like,
no.
How the fuck are those kids hiding from a firebomb?
Yup.
Where are
no,
those guys
no.
going? Oh, and I kept having that little monologue voice in my head so often. I was like, okay. I end up giving it a 2.5 because I recognize the parts that are good are just like inherently awesome. I think that opening sequence is an all-timer.
I got something to tell you about that.
And
Danny Boyle directed the intro sequence.
Oh my god, it makes so much sense now.
Yes.
I was also shocked at not remembering what the movie was about. Like, in a weird way, whenever I thought about this movie, like, I couldn't tell you what the plot was. I could tell you what happened in the movie, and then rewatching, I was like, oh, it literally is just about this family and their experience with the quarantine. Like, the military stuff is not as, like, point of view as I envisioned. A lot of the story is told kind of like, your protagonists are the brother and sister, and it's really about their experience, not so much about, like, what the global scale of the world is at, and are they treating the infected? Like, that part isn't really what the movie's about. I remember Idris Elba being in it way more than he is. He's barely in this movie.
Oh yeah,
and obviously, like, there are two
characters
in the military that are important, but like, we're not kind of watching them interact with their superior officers that much, or, you know, them conflicted about what to do. Like, I don't know, it's not as much. So it's much more of a human story than I remember, which makes 28 years later make more sense in my head, because it's so much less about the zombies and as much I know I keep saying
Well,
zombies and they're not.
they're all like that. 28
Yeah, exactly.
Days Later is much more so.
I think that's something I just like watching this made me appreciate. Is like, oh, I think that is something I was subconsciously doing, was not realizing that this zombie movie's not about the zombies, and like I never really noticed it until I watched this, because I hadn't seen 28 Days Later since I saw it like 10, 12 years ago. So like I'm excited to do, if we should definitely do 28 Days soon, because I want to watch a good one again.
That's why. Okay, so now that your score has been revealed, I'll do mine. I gave it a 2 out of 5 as well. So right.
Wow,
right,
a 2. I honestly thought it would be lower based on.
So it's like you said, the good parts of the movie are really good, and the score, that song that they
cheat
play,
code.
Dude, yes, it is the Interstellar style cheat code of the music, just like making you feel things. So yeah, there's some parts in it that I absolutely love, and I think all the acting was good.
Yep.
Set design and production value all really high. It was, even the cinematography was really great. Like, the way the movie was made, it has a lot of quality. And so it's hard for me to. So
isn't it interesting for you to have a movie that you have such a strong negative feel to almost exclusively in the story department? Because I think normally with a lot of movies you don't like, it's usually a lot of bad, like acting, technical stuff in addition to the story not making sense or plot holes and stuff like that. And this one, it's almost exclusively the writing and stuff, and not the technical parts.
Things happen that are so ludicrous and impossibly stupid that I just couldn't suspend my disbelief. I can suspend it enough to believe a rage virus is taking over and that basically zombies exist. That's fine, but some of the shit that happens in this movie, which is what you were saying earlier, like, I couldn't suspend my disbelief for so much of this, and I couldn't rationalize why a character would do a thing. I couldn't, what's the word? It's like an inconsistent. The thing you were making fun of me of earlier, where you're like, "Oh, the Rock of that wouldn't do that." Mm-hmm. Like that's a different type of problem than what this movie has.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing is, like, it doesn't feel. It only feels like nitpicking if you say one thing that you think is weird, but it's just like in almost every store beat, there's someone doing it, and it's never the same character. It's like everybody has a different moment that I'm just like, okay. And so, like, it that's what made it even more frustrating for me, is like, I don't know, like, all the performances were good, but I didn't like any of them, and they're all weird and dumb, and in ways that, like...
Imogen Poots is my fucking queen. I love her so much.
Okay, is that the girl in this movie?
Yeah, Imogen Poots.
I keep hearing that name.
Fright Night, which is great. She was in Green Room.
That's what I've seen her in. Okay, her eyes are just so distinct. I'm like, why have I seen...
God, yeah, she's so gorgeous.
And also crazy. That name is 1,000% just an indie band, is what I thought.
It's wild. Yeah, no, there could literally just be a band called Imogen Poots, and you'd think they were some Scottish band with a weird, slang language for a name.
I did not realize how famous of an actress was in. I don't know if she's that famous, but I've heard that name and I've seen enough of her, so I'll call her famous enough that I...
Yeah, she's pretty huge. She was in Vivarium as well. Like, she...
Wait, is that the one with the guy? Yeah. Oh,
Jesse
shit.
Eisenberg. Yeah.
Oh.
Which, by the way, I need to take pictures of this. There is a Vivarium ass fucking neighborhood that's being built near me, where it's like,
hell yeah,
like 200 homes popped up overnight, and they're all crisp and pristine and brand new, but they look almost identical, and they're all empty. And they've been empty for like 6 months. Nobody is leasing them or buying them. It's just all empty. It's like, every time Lauren and I walk through there, it's eerie, looking like standing in the middle of a street and looking both directions, and both of them looking exactly the same. And like, you could get lost if you didn't have more, if we weren't so familiar with it, and just got plopped there, you'd be like,
dude, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's funny. But speaking of that,
that was
Imogen Poots. Do you know this was her second role, like her first real role? She was just like a young person in V for Vendetta, and then it was this. That's wild.
Nice. impressive.
Well, let's start with my favorite part of the
let's
movie.
start. Also, before we do go start,
goats.
I want to say I was a firm 28 Weeks Later is the best movie believer.
I was too.
I loved 28 Days, but I thought 28 Weeks was the same caliber, but just like cooler action, so I liked it more. And then I didn't watch it for probably close to a decade. I watched this movie, a dozen times throughout high school and just loved it, and into college, loved it. And then I just didn't watch it, and on this rewatch, I think it was a combination of seeing this movie. It just kind of felt like a new lens. It was all familiar, but I caught so many things. And I was mad at the past version of myself for like convincing the future version of myself that this movie was great and that I should love it. I was like, how the fuck was I not bothered by any of this insane bullshit in the movie? Like, how did I overlook the 92 things that happened that are just fucking asinine? Like, I was mad at myself for having liked this movie so much, and I just want to
shout out to anyone listening that we lost a companion episode, and that anger that I just heard. That's what me and Kyle were both just bouncing off of each other, dude. That's a little sneak peek to the pod that was.
Yeah, that sucks. That was a good just like tag team diarrhea dump all over a movie episode, and we just fucking lost it because my dumbass Audacity froze and I didn't know it.
So, so now I'm going to be curious when we retell the intro, how does then with your everything is crap accurately describing this movie, does the opening still hold up to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. And
in a vacuum, a lot of the stuff holds up, but it's the problem when you start stringing it all together and you realize how silly so much of it is.
Okay, before we start,
that's where the biggest problem is.
Does this make 28 years later? Does that change how you feel about that movie at all, based after rewatching 28 Weeks? Because I posed the question because
I don't think it affected me too much. It definitely made me think more positively on it, and like, oh wow, yeah. So 28 years later came after this one, and it got better again, and it's good, and made me love Danny Boyle more. It made me want to watch 28 Years Later. Literally, as soon as this movie ended, Lauren and I are kind of sitting there like dejected in silence at how stupid all of it could kind of ended up being. And I looked at her and I was just like, I really want to watch 28 Years Later again.
Yeah,
that was my first thought. So I guess it did have an effect on me in some way.
Yeah, I was going to say is like what it did for me was it's not so much that I think the movie was underrated, but I think I've come to appreciate how easily you can mess it up. And that it does, like, the way they pull that off was impressive. So it's just one of those things of like, you didn't know how nice you had it until you don't. Because, like, I think in a lot of ways, 28 Weeks Later was also far enough from Days that I'm sure it kind of had this nice little bubble of being safe. And like this movie is better than I'd say an average movie that was coming out around the time. But like when you talk about like you have such more knowledge of what the art of film has produced and is capable of, and what to pass, like what pass the sniff test nowadays is just like you just have a more refined palate. You know when something's not meeting those kind of standards. So I think it's all of those things mixed together is like made me more excited for a rewatch of Days and thinking about Years as being like, okay, they really did do a good job. Because I don't like 28 Years Later has gotten a weirdly like divisive online of people arguing about like they're just really passionate about
divisive.
Yeah,
is that the British way to say it?
No, instead of divisive.
Yeah.
It's very divisive. I don't know.
Divisive.
Maybe I don't know. Man.
Yeah, you take two and you divide it by one, and you get two.
Fuck off! All right, don't put that evil on me. Okay, I don't know what happened. All right.
I think the divisiveness from 28 Years Later is mostly from the end.
And it also seems like
almost everybody loves it until the last 5 minutes because it's such a total shit.
A documentary on the dude they based it after, and that dude is fucked.
Oh, he's so fucked up. He's so fucked. Oh, but what is his fucking name?
Jimmy something or other.
Seville.
Yep, that's it. Jimmy Seville.
Yeah, he's like one of the most prolific like child
pedophiles,
molesters of all
yeah.
time, and none of it came out until after he died.
And when
which is so annoying.
Yeah, so
I'm annoyed by that.
it was that really grounded my gears. But fuck, I forgot what what I also found out is people are mad about the pregnant zombie or rage. They like people not understanding kind of the idea of like the rage that like that moment sparks a lot of the questions of like, well, what does this virus do to a person, and how do you treat, and like people not seeing the parallel between the cancer and the rage virus. It's just like, the genius is lost on you morons. Anyway, Danny Boyle makes good movies.
Yeah, I was about to go talk about 28 years later some more as if we didn't do that already.
I want to actually start talking
weeks.
about the movie. This podcast is about 16 minutes
go.
in. So
let's fucking go.
The other funny thing about this is that the dad here, his name is George. No, I actually don't remember what his name was.
Shit, what is his name?
I can't. But he played
Don.
Yes, Don.
Just as ambiguous as George.
He was Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time, that TV show that aired on NBC, where all of the Disney fairy tales were real. And anyway, he was a very evil man, and he played Rumpelstiltskin, and I couldn't stop thinking about that during this movie.
Wow.
It's very funny. It kind of, I love this actor because I've seen him play like really silly evil, like kind of giddy. So it is weird to see then like kind of the most harrowing. And what I love about the opening of this movie is I think is really what most people would actually do in that scenario. Like in this, or there are a lot of people who claim.
I'm glad you brought that up. So let's set the scene.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if we need to because this is such an old movie, most people have seen it. But it opens the opening sequence, of course, directed by Danny Boyle. It's an amazing sequence and really sets the stakes for what's happening in this movie and the dynamic of this family. A family has been kind of like hiding out in this super boarded up house, and they're just kind of living, and the way they're talking, it's implied that they've been here for a while, but they're just trying to survive this zombie apocalypse. They don't know what's going on, but they obviously know it's happening, and they're just surviving. In the middle of one of their dinners, suddenly there's pounding on their door, and it's a little kid outside screaming for help. The dad, Don, doesn't want to let the kid in, but the mom is like, it's a little kid, like, we got to let him in. So they open the door, they let him in, they close it, and like nothing's following the kid. So he comes in and everything seems to be fine, and they're feeding him and they're asking him kind of what happened, and he's like, I was just running from my mom and dad, they're infected and trying to kill me. And of course the infected did follow this kid. A few hours later, the next morning, they bust in through the house and they start tearing everything down, and it's just a really chaotic scene of everyone trying to survive, and they run out into this little barn, and they're trying to like climb up, and there's probably 4 or 5 people in this group plus this kid now, and everybody ends up dying slowly as they progress the scene through the house, and they're upstairs. The scene that really is what you're talking about, where like most people would do this. Basically, there's the mom and the little boy that they rescued in one corner of the room, and the dad is in a different corner of the room, and the zombies bust through the door, and they're like standing there looking back and forth between the mom and the dad. And basically the way it's set up is there's no way for the mom and dad and the kid to like get together without having to interact with this zombie, this infected. So the dad makes the choice to cut his losses, and he jumps out the window that's right next to him. And then the zombies all turn and run and attack his wife and the little boy that they just rescued.
So just it was fairly accurate, except that he doesn't jump out that window because he ends up looking up at his wife while he's running away, and she locks eyes with him out that window. He's actually at the doorway, and he closes the door on her and runs.
Because like they get in the room together, and the little boy's already up in there, but he's in a far corner of the room that's not good. And he, Don and his wife, what's her name? Is it even relevant? I guess
no, it doesn't really matter.
Know.
She doesn't have any more lines for the movie.
Yeah, so Don and his wife are like holding hands, and the wife like Don is trying to hold her and pull her through this doorway that will lead them out of the house. And she kind of breaks free from Don's grip and is like, we gotta save this kid. And she like runs to the kid.
Yeah.
Then the zombies bust in behind them. And now Don is left like standing in this doorway with a free escape out of the house, or try to go save his wife and this new kid that they don't know. And he like backs up and slams the door and saves himself.
And
basically.
the only reason I back that up a little bit is because I think it makes the point better, is that he sees two options. One is that he could die a hero, or he could survive. And where if the options were he was going to die no matter what, like maybe he would do something different. But here he sees a version that's like, they're preoccupied with them, that's going to give me time to escape. And I just know how many people have seen a zombie movie where it's like, do I save my wife or do I protect myself? Of course I've got to save the day. And it's like, no, motherfucker, you would sprint the hell out of that house.
So now that we have set this all up, absolutely, I thought, what would I actually do here? Seriously. Trying my best to envision that I'm in that scenario. I really have no idea, and it's probably a cop-out answer, and it's one of those things where, like, you won't know until something, like, life-threatening like that happens to you. You want to think you're a good guy, and you would try to save your wife and this kid, but how strong is self-preservation when you genuinely feel like your life is threatened? Would I just walk away and go, this is going to be the worst decision I've ever made in my life, I'm going to hate myself forever, but, like, I think all of us die if I go try to save her, so I'm just going to save myself. I think people are dying here no matter what, so I might as well try to live. Because, like, what does he do? What should he do? Just kind of, like, body slam the infected and let the wife and kid run behind him and then out the door? Like, what do you actually do if you wanted to save them? What do you do there? And he's already been
established to be afraid of, like, he didn't want to, I think that was a very good
didn't want to let the kid in at all.
And they established that, like, the wife and him, that, like, the wife was repulsed by this idea. Like, the fact that he was hesitating, like, made her so angry. And I'm bringing that up because I have a lot of questions about this. This character, to me, is one of my biggest question marks about this movie. We'll get that. And I love that when he finally gets out and he's sprinting in this open field, he looks back and he can see his wife up there with the kid yelling his name, looking right at him. And
pounding on the window. And then she gets, yanked to the side and disappears. And so he just assumes she's dead. And this whole sequence is so good. It's so tense and well filmed. And it's playing that song with the really driving drums and the beat. That plays quite frequently throughout the movie. This is the cheat code we mentioned earlier, that it feels like it's so evocative, and it just, you're clenching your fists, the anxiety is pumping through your body, you're tense, like, it's such a good scene. It's so fucking cool.
I know it's an interesting thing to add on to, because, like, I'm thinking about what he did, like, they show him being obviously selfish. But when he gets down to the dock after he's running away, and there's the only other survivor of the home, the guy that, like, is getting the boat ready to go.
Yeah, I guess he escaped earlier. You don't really see it, but it's perfectly plausible that he was also able to escape. Because the way this house is laid out, it's a little confusing to describe, but there's a lot of entrances and exits, and it's kind of a farmhouse, so it's, like, big and tall, and it's very plausible that he was able to just kind of slip out when the chaos first broke out. Or he ends up in the barn. No, he's the one that actually gets up the ladder in the barn, right?
Yes, because there's an old couple that ends up dying, and so those are kind of the two like, survivors. Is basically that guy, kind of his little side thing to get to the water, and Don, and they catch there, and then, Don gets on the boat, and the guy tries to jump in and misses and falls in the water, and Don does try to pull him in the whole time. Yeah. So, like, it's not that this guy is exclusively a selfish prick, but, like, in that moment to survive, he's like, well, I would save someone if it wouldn't endanger me, and that's what he does there. But the other thing I really want to highlight this actor in particular, and I hate that I don't know his name, but, like, his, like, panicked little, like, just him saying oh shit to himself over and over with in that very weird voice is just, like, it feels so real. So like this like panic that I had never seen really portrayed, that isn't just someone with big eyes or screaming. It's like the quiet, like, I cannot, what do I do? What's happening? What the, oh fuck. That kind of energy that was just like, I don't know, really captivating. I feel like this scene it's well directed, but I think it's mainly carried by
his name,
well.
Yeah, I just looked it up just to give credit where it's due. Robert Carlyle is the guy's name. He's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's a very authentic and real performance, but it's subdued. Like you said, it's not just some person screaming, ah! You know, it's somebody that feels like they are actively fighting for their life and they know what's at stake, but they don't even have the time or the energy to be doing anything dramatic. It's literally like, no, I'm dead. I have to run. Like, oh, I have to get in this boat. I have to do these things. It feels, I don't know, maybe I accurately described it, but it's it's a very great performance compared to a maybe more lower budget, less well directed movie where people would be screaming more and doing silly things. He's just really trying to be pragmatic and do what he has to do to survive.
Yeah, and it that's what makes, I think, any of the dramatic stuff work, is because I find this character to be a human with like an interesting motivation, or just like a complex, like it wasn't just like a I'm doing this because fuck you, I want to live. Like that kind of energy could have been there. It just doesn't come off that way. And they never really spend that much time exploring his character. So to get all that in this, 10-minute sequence maybe? Yeah, it's awesome. And the good news is we've already seen the best part of the whole movie.
Yep, so it's going to be fast from here.
The movie isn't that long, to be fair, so thank goodness for that.
No. It's... All right. So what happens after this... You know, and here's the thing. This is a more meta talk about our podcast in general. I don't know if I like the format of us just talking, like describing the movie beat by beat. I haven't gotten feedback that anybody dislikes the way we kind of chronologically go through a movie, but sometimes it feels like we don't have enough to say without just describing everything. But
I'm with you. Yeah,
it does jog my memory and make me go like the way we broke down that scene and we're talking about the way, you know, in that moment feeling those things. I think that was like a important thing to discuss. But
hey, take it away. What do you want to say next?
Well, that was the other thing. I don't know.
Oh, fuck off!
It's so easy. It is way easier to keep it structured, right? And just like, you know, talk about the movie in order, but at the same time, I don't want to. So like, I don't fucking know.
All right, so let me. I know what I want to talk about is the sequence with Don meeting back up with his wife.
That is so far ahead. No, we're not.
Okay. All right, Kyle.
Vetoed.
What would you like to do? Do something then, you motherfucker.
Okay, so, basically, Don, you know, it flashes forward to, like, Don is now in one of the safe places. Where are they? What, like, actual location are they?
I assume they're just somewhere in London. I'll look it up while you're talking.
So they're in Great Britain, and he's in a you know, supposedly guarded safe place. This is a huge talking point I want to bring up, is the lack of guards fucking anywhere when it actually matters. When they introduce this place, they're showing people having to go through like metal detector type systems to make sure they're cleared of viruses. They take a train from one point to the next to really like make sure they're isolated. Then they go through all these, they do these checks and balances. There's guards everywhere. It feels very safe. But then later in the movie, as chaos starts outbreaking, it's like, apparently the guards have fucking disintegrated. I don't know. It's horrible. So anyways, before we get there, the kids show up to this place. The dad is already there. Don, he's kind of like in charge of stuff there. Maybe it relates to what his job used to be. Maybe he used to be a military guy. I don't really remember or know. But he's kind of a more important person at this safe spot. And they're in it's kind of a skyscraper, isn't it? Like,
yes,
there's many
it's a very, very tall
floors
building. Yeah.
Yeah, and their room maybe it's like an old hotel converted into a headquarters.
Because it just says Great Britain is where they are. So that could very well be in London in theory. I guess not, because that's 28 days. Anyway, you get it.
So, yeah, the kids show up. Don has to break the news to them that their mom didn't make it because these kids were sent off to some kind of like a boarding school or a private school. So they were actually off. This is another thing. The outbreak is supposed to be just in Great Britain. And this is sort of it's not a retcon. Jake brought this up to me, actually, about 28 weeks later, sort of retconning, or 28 years later, retconning what 28 weeks later did, which, spoiler, at the end of 28 weeks later, it basically shows that the infected have made it to Paris. They made it to the mainland.
I do remember.
By going through the tunnels underground, which is a cool idea. But I do remember in 28 years later, in the beginning, they mention that the virus did end up getting to the mainland, but I think it was small enough that they contained it, and it's gone now. Like, completely not on the mainland after the 28 years, however long. But I know they've taken care of it. So in 28 weeks later, it's implied that it gets to the mainland, and then in 28 years later, they're like, it did, but we took care of it, and now it's back only on the Great British Isles.
That's like a smart way to do it without saying it didn't happen, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Which, at the end of 28 weeks, whatever. I forgot what my point was of saying that, but regardless, they're now at this HQ. Oh, the kids being sent off to wherever. So they were off of the Great British Islands. They were somewhere else, so it was safe. And then they ended up coming back to the British Isles in order to be with, their mom and dad. Now mom is dead, so now they're only with dad, and it's a sad scene, whatever. He says, like, your mom died, I'm sorry.
I did, and like the big thing he says, I saw her die.
Yeah,
I did everything I could to save her.
So of course the audience knows you're a fucking liar, and I caught you on camera.
Wow, dude, lying in 4K.
This is the first indicator that this movie is being a little bit silly with its rules. The kids decide that they want to leave this safe zone, and they want to go out and explore. I don't know why, but they want to go to their old house, because their old house is like, only a couple miles away from this safe house. So they want to go to their old home and pick up some clothes or toys or whatever the fuck. These kids escape.
Okay,
this,
I did want to ask. So the reason they go back is that the brother is afraid he's going to forget what his mom looks like, and so they were going back to get trinkets of their dead mom. I want to ask, like, what do you think of that as the reasoning now? Because, like, you it obviously didn't stick with you, but me telling you that
the catalyst to make them go.
Yeah, how does that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I didn't know if you thought that made it worse.
They literally, like, even as simple as what I said, which is like, oh wait, we're only 2 miles from our house. You want to go see, like, if our house is still around or what the deal is? Yeah, let's go. Even that would have been a perfectly fine thing for me to motivate them to leave.
Enough,
They're kids, so, like, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, you can let them be idiots. It's kind of the nice thing about, like, young people, you youngins out there.
The problem comes with how stupidly easy it is for them to escape.
Dude, it's just it's just the military and unknown rage virus. It's fine.
Here's the thing. There's like designated pathways to get to this safe zone that they're in. It kind of feels they're almost moated by a river. There's kind of like a river surrounding them, so there's only these specific walkways. The kids basically just go on the outside of these walkways and crawl across this pipe that's next to it, and nobody fucking sees them, of course, except the sniper, who does see them. So this is a part where I was a little conflicted. I could give them the benefit of the doubt here if the rest of the movie didn't make me hate it. But if I were watching this for the first time and saw this and the thought went into my head, like, this seems a little easy for them to be getting away, I could have two defenses for this. Number one is it's more important that they keep things out rather than keep things from going out.
Yeah, they care more about things coming in
like,
than they care about the people in there getting out.
Exactly. So I would be like, okay, that's understandable. They're they want to keep the zombies from coming in versus the other way around. If somebody wants to escape and get themselves killed, like, who fucking cares? So I could go, all right, maybe that's a defense. And then 2 is the sniper does actually see them. He sees them sneaking around, these other 2 idiots guarding the front door or the front walkway, and the sniper's like, oh, we got 2 pups that are escaping the nest, or whatever lingo he says.
I love
But he does catch them, but it's not immediate. You'd think he would radio the guys that are standing right fucking next to them and being like, hey, look, turn around, there's kids running. And they'd go, oh, and go catch them. But no, it's like, they fully escape and get to go do whatever they want for, however many hours.
Yeah.
Did that part catch you?
I was. I
feel like I've been dominating the talking.
No, dude, that's where you're wrong. You're fucking biased and something else. I forget the meme.
Yeah,
it's
go
fine.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was a little weirded out that they seemed fine with the idea of people getting out, and especially after they see someone on there, they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll bring them back." It's like, I don't know, man. This is, if they feel, and I don't know if this is an intentional, they're trying to show this arrogance that they aren't taking this quarantine and protocol seriously, but I don't think that's what they're trying to say.
No, the movie's not smart enough for that.
Because I do think they show actually, in fact, the actions taken in the latter half of the movie imply that they are taking it very seriously.
Yes.
So it did feel like a thing where they just couldn't think of this is where the phrasing, tighten up the script here, is you could write this with some better dialogue. I could believe it a little bit more, but it just seems weird. Don't show us. I don't know. I'm still conflicted, honestly. That's why it's a 2.5, because I don't know why I didn't like it, but I didn't like it. How about that? That's what I got.
Okay, so this moment didn't particularly catch you, but
no, it's just it was the first one. I was like, I'm kind of surprised they're letting them do this. I bought the kids' motivation enough, and the idea of being the only one in an abandoned city is kind of cool. When I see them running down the streets, I kind of get that. I was more weirded that they let them do this, or let them think that they could. It's just weird. Just weird.
Right, and if like I just said, if they did see them escape immediately, why the fuck were they able to go around for so long and not have anything happen? I don't know.
And I
guess because they come pick them up in a helicopter, so I guess they're taking that seriously. But
yeah, and the dad, I just feel like if you lost your wife and you thought your kids may not be, it's just I struggle for them to be so quickly able to slip out.
That's a good point, too. I didn't even think about that. You'd think he'd be like, okay, kids, let's wake up and have breakfast together and lunch together. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
We lost your mom and my wife. I'm sad. I want to be with my children. Let's all sleep in the same room. Make sure we're all together. And it's nope, dad disappears. Kids then go do whatever the fuck they want and escape the entire safe zone. So, long story short, they end up getting back to their main house. Their old house, and their mom is there, who's supposed to be dead.
Yeah, this is the actual retcon, in my opinion, or my thoughts. Is this what happens with this family in particular? The fact that she's alive and is resistant to or she's just a carrier. I forget what the medical term is, where you can carry a disease,
she's
but not
an asymptomatic carrier.
Yes. That whole, I thought that was a really cool twist, as oh shit, what about this person? And seeing this person kind of snap and be a little feral and kind of fighting some of the symptoms, but then at the same time, I kind of was this is almost a lazy way to be well, we could just make her unpredictable in whatever way the story would find convenient.
Yeah, I could see that. I agree. I liked the feralness that she had. I do think it was an interesting thought of something inside her is allowing her to fight this virus, but the virus it is having an effect on her. It's making her a little bit unpredictable. And it almost plays into 28 years later with the alphas being sort of sentient and in control, but they're still kind of clearly under.
Holy shit. Don't make me like this, Kyle. Stop.
Well,
don't make it make sense.
It's not intentional, but I'm just saying the parallel is there where, of course, really what I'm saying is 28 years later just did this idea, but way better. That, maybe over time, over 28 years of time, humans have become somewhat resistant to the virus, so that they're not able to fully reject it, but they are able to retain some of their human qualities, which is what the alphas are in 28 years later, I think.
Very interesting.
Right?
It's
sort of like, when you're getting better from the cold or a flu. It's like, I'm still sick, but I'm feeling better. That's what I imagine the rage virus is, where we've become more resistant to it in 28 years later. Or in this case, these asymptomatic carriers, the mom and the kid, which the indicators, they have two different colored eyes, the heterochromisms.
Yeah.
What's it called when you have the two different color eyes?
It's called two sick eyes, bro syndrome.
Yeah, two wicked eyes, bro syndrome. That is what the mom has. Also, they point out very early that the son has that too. So you're of course left to go, oh, well, they found the mom. She has the virus, but she doesn't have really any signs of it. She has these two different colored eyes that they point out again. The son has them as well. Heterochromia. Yeah, okay. So it's assumed that the mom and the son both have this immunity. Of course, the son isn't infected, so we don't know. But when they find their mom, she kind of hugs the son, and she's like overcome with emotion and squeezing him, but there's a rage in her eyes, and she starts squeezing her son really tight and starts hurting him, but she's also like loving, and you can see she like cares for him, but there's this virus in her that's like making her want to hurt him. It's cool.
Yes.
It's an intense scene, and it's very confusing for the boy as well, whose name is
Tony. Andy. It's Andy.
Andy.
Like Toy Story.
But here was the next part where I went, how the fuck is the mom alive? They do a good job of setting the scene where, like, in the upstairs attic where she's kind of hiding, or the upstairs bedroom, there's just cans of food everywhere and, like, maggots in some of the food, and there's, paper covering all the windows, and it looks like somebody's been homeless but kind of, like, squatting there for many weeks. And I don't know if you remember, but Lauren and I talked about the timeline. From when she got bitten and and Don abandoned her in that house, to when she is now in her old home, how long was that? It had to be a few weeks.
Yeah, especially when you consider how unkempt her hair, and like it seemed like she had a lot of hair compared to before too. I'm gonna see if they give an actual time.
It is 28 weeks later, but I don't know if it's 28 weeks later from the incident shown at the beginning of the movie, or if it's 28 weeks later from the outbreak of the virus.
So
no, don't they do it? They do a time card where they literally show
so
28 weeks later.
Yeah,
okay.
What is happening at the beginning of 28 weeks is basically the rage virus moving from the thing in 28 days later, and is finally spreading out a little bit more, and then that's when we jump cut 28 weeks later to where it's gotten so bad humanity's like pushed to the edges here. That's
okay. So it's been 7 months then for her. She has made her way back and survived for 7 months.
That's the implication based on the way the story is structured, yes.
So, by the way, 40 minutes in and we're just now talking about the mom being discovered. I think we're going to be able to skip a lot of the middle parts of it, because that's when the movie gets really fucking stupid doo-doo. But let's move ahead then to what you were talking about. The guys show up, they pick everybody up, and they go back to the quarantine zone, and now Don sees his wife again. You go.
So the other thing too is we do fast forward a little bit, is that the kids now know the dad lied to them, and they confront him about it. And this is the last thing they ever have, is this conversation in which they're like, you said you saw her die. And he was like, I did everything I could. They're like, you fucking lied to us. I can't trust you anymore. I think Andy like runs out of the room, and that's when Don goes to see his wife. Which, how do they not have this lady who they are saying is the cure, possibly the cure to the fucking epidemic that is world threatening? They just are like, oh yeah, we'll just leave in the room by herself. Visitors can come in if they want.
Okay. I'm gonna get fucking loud now.
All right,
because
Kyle.
This part, dude, this is Oh my fucking! I'm getting fucking mad even thinking about it. Okay, hold on. So not only is she carrying the rage virus and she's asymptomatic for the most part, they think she could be the cure for the entire fucking virus. But at the same time, they also acknowledge that she's literally carrying the virus, so she's still dangerous. Saliva spreads this thing, so if she fucking sneezes while someone's in the room, she could spread the virus to them. Like, this lady needs to be locked the fuck up, guarded as fuck, put in the fucking most guarded fucking room in the fucking place. There needs to be concrete around her. Like, they need to take this
lock her into
so
a
much more
tomb.
seriously.
Put her on the pyramids. Yeah.
Yes, they need to lock her under the goddamn one of the fucking Egyptian pyramids.
Let's tie some cinder blocks to her feet and put her in the water. Hell yeah.
They show us, they show that she's been bitten by something. There's a huge mouth-shaped scar on her arm. So they know, for the most part, she's been bitten. They test her blood. It's got the rage virus in it. The science lady is like, oh my god, she's got it. But like we're saying, they think she could be the cure. And Dawn just waltzes on up to her in the basement, and she's in it looks like a little trailer, basically. It's like a medical trailer. And there's nobody anywhere.
Yeah, I made a joke that they never finished making that set. That's like how empty it was. So even if you are able to glide past that, let's say you don't sit there and process the absurdity that we are describing to you.
The importance of this character's existence in this universe and how opposite they're treating her, it's mind-bogglingly stupid.
Yes, I agree. I had to go.
It's like
Sorry.
It's somewhat similar to Ellie in The Last of Us, right? But they set that up so much better, and it's just done.
I just think there are so many. I'm not saying I know a better way, but the idea that they're taking this seriously, and there's not a single armed guard until it's way too late. In this, it is not like they brought in the U.S. military to this thing. It isn't just who do we got around? No, they have the fucking U.S. military with
multiple nations working together to secure this shit.
So it's just like the idea that they would leave anything up to someone to be able to slip through the cracks is absurd.
And of course, Don just happens to have a key card because I said earlier he's sort of higher up at this place.
And he just
has a key card that unlocks everything, so he just can get wherever he wants for free.
And I think it's supposed to be because it's his wife in there, but I still think it's one of those things the hospital wouldn't give you the right to just open a quarantine door just because your family member's in there. You'd still have to go to the front desk and be escorted. It's just, look, I know the world's falling apart, but I feel like they would be able to then make these locks easier because there's less people to have to manage. I don't know. I struggle.
They set the tone of this zone, of the safe zone. They set up how well guarded this is earlier. Again, like I mentioned, all the checks they have to go through. They show a lot of guards everywhere. They show snipers. They show people watching. There's a lot of. It feels like a safe zone. It's like, okay, they're taking this seriously. They got guards on every corner. You got to go through all these rooms with locks, and they check you to make sure you're good. There's a lot of precautions put in place, and then suddenly the most important character that's existed in this 28 days universe shows up, and like we're saying, they just leave her abandoned in the back corner. Just lock her up and put her over there. Make sure nobody's watching her. I don't know. Ugh.
So
all right. So what happens?
So then, I don't know what happens, Kyle. This is what I wanted to talk about the whole time. I don't understand what the motivation. What is the goal of Miss Rage? So he comes in there and what it is so badly is he wants her to say it's okay, that I forgive you. I understand. That's what he's going in there to do. He's obviously kind of out of his mind, and he's mopey.
Yeah,
and
he's overcome
sad.
with emotion. I'm so sorry. I I didn't know what to do. I love you. Like, please, I love you. I'm so, yeah.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I kind of love this dude. It's just like it is so complex because you can tell how tortured he is by this. It isn't a performance. It's like he really does feel this, and whether or not he deserves it is like up to you. But the only thing I think she says is "I love you, Dawn," or "I love
Yes.
you," and I can't tell what percentage of this is her suppressing the memory of the because of the trauma. What percentage is she just like out of it because of the drugs she might be on or this rage virus? Or is she trying to spread the virus to him as a punishment?
Yep.
But then because that's what ends up happening is they kiss and kiss of death. And Dawn, that acting, oh God, when he goes, it starts to like overtake him and stuff. I also was like, something I really found tough to watch in this movie is the violence in this is so mean and angry and like just like individual suffering at the maximum.
The violence that he does to her specifically is
it's really hard. I have never
very brutal.
You know me, I watch probably way more violent shit than you do on average. I love violence. I just love the idea of people being killed. It just makes me really happy. Yeah. Oh my God, we're going to publish this somewhere and they're going to have a quote me saying that. Jesus fucking Christ. Yep. But there's something about that scene that is the most that the violence I've seen has made me uncomfortable. Like it gave me like torture porn discomfort levels. I'm not in the just like in a different way, and I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad as much as like I just remember being very impactful, and I was very uncomfortable by it. Like it was like gouging the eyes out. I'm like, she can't do anything, and these things are so violent and fast.
Yeah.
And like,
so she is strapped to a bed,
a gurney. Yeah.
Yeah, she's strapped to a gurney, so she literally can't move. So, again, a movie that I already am having a movie that I'm suspending my disbelief massively for and making excuses for. Like this, it's just not well written. If I keep having to make your writing make sense, but you could make an argument that because she's strapped in and can't really move, that they don't need to guard her. But then also, like, are they just leaving her there for days? Are they feeding her? Are they making sure she's got water? Like, she's just in this empty room. She doesn't have an IV bag or anything. Like, are they taking care of her at all? Somebody would be there. Somebody would have to be there.
Exactly.
Now, okay. Again,
there's one...
here I go making...
Oh God! I really wanted to say the last thing I wanted to say when I described it and why I wanted to ask you is like I don't know what was going through this woman's head because based on her reaction when he starts to attack is that she's shocked it's happening.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. I thought the same way after seeing this. My thought was the way she says "I love you, Dawn," the way she's looking at him, giving him kind of this sideways glance. It feels very vindictive. It feels like she's getting her revenge. But then I think it's like she just she didn't think it all the way through. She's like, fuck this guy. I'm going to get him infected. We'll see how he likes being, left to die. And then she realizes, wait, I just trapped myself inside a room with an infected. I think it could be both, that she wanted to punish him, but then didn't realize what that meant because they're in a locked room together.
And I think the problem is they don't give this woman any characterization. I don't know if she's a bitch, if she's friendly. What do the kids think of her? I don't know anything about this fucking family. And I'm supposed to...
They do sort of in the beginning. They show that her and Dawn are still in love. They kind of like get a little bit... there's like some sexual tension between them. She's smiling as she's cooking and he's like kind of feeling up on her. And it seems like they might be... But they still love each other. She seems fine enough.
But that my point is like
she wants to save the kid.
I don't know how their dynamic is like besides one scene. Like I don't know. Are they having marital problems? Was there cheating involved at some point? And I know that this sounds like a little extra, but what I'm trying to get at is I can't even make an assumption of what's going through her head because I haven't seen enough of her character to know, is she someone to like hold a grudge? I don't even know how she feels since the opening sequence, we never get a moment from her perspective, or like we just see her strapped down. Like, I don't know what she is feeling. How, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, or am
yeah, and she doesn't. They don't even let her talk. Like when she's first being kind of they're doing all the kind of medical tests on her to make sure she's okay. They ask her questions and she doesn't speak. She doesn't say anything to anyone.
So the fact she speaks to Don says something, but like that's why I'm like I struggle to understand the character.
She says 3 words, but they don't give us a lot. They don't give us a lot.
For me, if I don't understand why a character is taking an action, because a lot of times there'll be actions I don't agree with, but you can see what the character wants from someone else, and they think this is the best way to get it. But for me, it's like I don't even understand what her wants are. Does she want Dawn punished? Is she mad about something? Is she just happy to see her? Like, I just don't know where her heart is. What is her?
Well,
what's
she
important?
might be. She's just an insert, right? I think you're just supposed to project what you think Dawn deserves onto her, and it's for the most part it aligns, right? Like the guy abandoned her. He lied to his kids about seeing her die. He didn't explicitly see her die, and he didn't tell his kids, "Yeah, I left your mom because it was either me or her." You know, he didn't say these things, but he's a selfish prick. Maybe not prick, but
I get what you're saying.
He wants to live more than he wants to kill himself for his wife, which I'm just now realizing that is the driving point home.
What's that? Say it again. The part
he likes himself more than he loves himself more than he loves his wife.
Yes, he was going in there.
He would rather live than just even attempt to save his wife, which, we're all so noble, all those of us with partners. I would like to think that, like, it's, what is it? I would take a bullet for you. Like, yes, I would. I would literally stand in front of a gun and take a shot for Lauren. I'm sure you would do the same for Brianna. This guy had the opportunity to do that, and he didn't.
Right.
So, okay, everything's said and done. I do see... I do see how I probably could sacrifice myself to try to let someone, Lauren live. I understand why he did it, but it does, I'm now realizing, okay, that's what it is. Yeah, he just loves himself more than he loves her. He's not willing to take a bullet for her. He's not willing to die for her.
And, like, so the idea that he has, you could understand why he made the choices that he does. And, like, when he goes to grovel to her, it could be in that same way that he loves himself more. It's like he wants to be forgiven more than he wants her to be happy. That kind of thing. Like, it's more important that he gets forgiven than worrying about her getting better first. Like,
I mean, that's true. Even in the fact that he just, like, kisses her.
Yeah.
When she's laying there on a gurney, presumably fucking sick, or who knows what she's been through. He doesn't ask how she is. He doesn't say, like, how did you survive? I'm so happy you're here. He's literally just begging for forgiveness and then kisses her because he's overcome and he quote unquote loves her. So
interesting.
So here's us dissecting a probably just a lazily written shitty script, doing way more work than the writers are doing. But maybe they're geniuses and they wanted us to be thinking all this stuff. I don't know.
Look, sometimes I think creators accidentally make great things, which is why they cannot repeat it.
Yeah.
So there might be.
Sure.
I have said some of the funniest things on the planet on accident. You never said the funniest thing you've ever said is never something you meant. Think about it. So,
and I do want to clarify. I think I remember saying, I'm so sorry, Alex Garland. He wrote this movie when we were talking about 28 years later. I thought Alex Garland wrote all of the movies, but he did not. Him and Danny Boyle had nothing to do with 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It was written by 4 people and directed by a different guy. I knew it was directed by somebody else, but I didn't know it was written by all these other people.
Yeah, so it sounds like I love that those two are such creative partners on this franchise.
Yes. So yeah, these guys just they lost the plot. They didn't know what they were doing.
And then this is where the tomfoolery begins, and this is kind of what sets off the action half of the movie, because this is about 45 minutes into the hour and a half long movie.
I don't even think it's that long. I think it's like half an hour in, but splitting hairs at this point. It is mostly action for the rest of the movie once this incident happens.
And this is where it is back to being like, really? Come on.
Yeah, like, moments. Wait, that's what... Oh, my... Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, the big one is the fucking... So, rage virus happens, and he kills the one guard that's nearby that they send in, gets infected, and it just starts to spread through the thing. So they go to lock people.
Also, something to roll your eyes at. Not a single guard shoots a single bullet at this motherfucker. Every single one just gets taken by surprise somehow. Nobody seems to be able to stop one single infected guy.
Because that's the other thing, is that they're all easy to kill because they're just human. That's what I love about 28 Weeks Later, or the 28 franchise, is just like, they're human beings that have a virus. So you shoot them that they die, and if they don't get sustenance, they die. Just like, but they are unstoppable, I guess.
Yeah.
Fuckers. There's a scene where, at this point, I don't know if there's any other, moments you really want to sit and break down, or do you want to kind of just hit the, you don't really bugged me moments? Because that's all I have. Up until kind of the end, it's just kind of, there's nothing that I can really remember that I really want to sit and dissect.
Yeah. Well, so, at this point, it is just beat after beat of wondering what the fuck this place even exists for. Why is there even a safe zone if these people are so incompetent? Essentially, the gist of it is the military just vanishes when shit hits the fan. The one infected guy, which, here's another thing, right? The infected in this universe are so fucking easy to spot because they look fucking insane. There's blood just pouring out of their mouth.
And
their eyes are beet red. They're
they're
fucking. They're so easy to spot. So there's no world where a guard doesn't turn down the hallway, hear this screeching, crazy looking dude, and just not instantly shoot him. Every guard is going to go, holy fuck, there's an infected in here. Boom, shoot him, dead. But no, this super dad zombie, which is something we do need to talk about. He basically turns into a super zombie. He is the 28 years later
proto-alpha. He is the alpha of the alphas, the first of the first, man.
Yeah. For no reason, also. The alphas, at least it kind of makes sense, right? Given the time span.
And they explicitly even talk about the idea of they're like animals and they evolve. They spend time to explain the idea of why are these things different now? Why are some behaving differently than we remember? This
one is because this guy is at the top of the call sheet.
He's clearly the smartest man in the whole world. Yeah. That's why he behaves that way.
Which also, he's a fucking idiot, and he's a shitty dude. Nobody likes him. I don't know why they picked this guy to just be a superhero zombie. But, he infects everybody in the base. It all goes crazy. They go into lockdown mode, which is hilarious that their idea of locking this place down in a safe manner is taking every single person in the safe zone and putting them in the basement with no power and locking the doors.
It pissed me off, because I'm like, what is when would this be the correct protocol? Is the building is there a natural disaster? The only thing is a tornado is the only way that would be the appropriate way to be locking this thing down.
That is a good way to put it. They treated the crazy rage virus spreading rapidly within the building like it's a fucking tornado. So they put everybody in the same spot, which is the polar opposite of what you would want to do in this situation. But also, surprise, there was a back door down here that nobody knew about that isn't guarded. As soon as they locked everyone in here, no guards exist anymore. They locked the doors and just walked away. They're leaving everybody. Where are they going if the people here are the ones you're trying to protect? Where did the guards go?
That's the thing, is and they make it clear that their goal is not to be the villains and to kill everybody, or to sacrifice everybody intentionally. And maybe that's the idea, because eventually they basically turn off the safety. They make a big intentional moment of when more of the virus gets spread into that base and people are just sprinting down that.
Yeah, but that's fair,
right? But when
in this moment, yeah.
So they do even talk about hey, make sure you're only targeting the infected, and then at some point there's too many infected. Just shoot anybody, just shoot everything that's running. And then eventually they're like, oh, we got to kill everybody to stop the spread. So is the implication there that they're setting them all in there to die intentionally? But they don't say that, so they don't get that cop-out. But unless their goal was to get everybody infected and or killed in this room, there's no reason that scene makes sense.
No, it's fucking ludicrous. And then, of course, the back door, guess who's the one thing that discovers it? It's infected zombie dad. And you know, Andy, he's kind of like starting to get a panic attack. He's getting overwhelmed by being crowded by all these people, and they're all screaming and scared. And so he like worms his way through the crowd and sits off in a back corner kind of by himself just to calm down. And then suddenly this magical door that appears next to him starts shaking violently like something's trying to get in. And lo and behold, yeah, it's his dad, busts through the door. Andy runs away, gets up in the vents, and then dad just spreads the infection, and now literally everybody's infected. Chaos breaks loose. They then break through the door. Then they get out. Then the scene is where Taylor's talking about where all the snipers are on the rooftops, and the you know, Idris Elba is like, try to only shoot the infected people. And then they're like, we can't fucking tell. It's too crazy. And then they go, okay, we'll just kill everybody then. And so, yeah, this is just action bullshit.
And at some point, Scarlett, the female doctor, she recognizes, like, I need to protect these children because they could have the gene. I think they recognize that either Andy and or Tammy, his sister, has the same thing that, like, we need to protect them because they might be the link to the mom. So she, at least her reason why she's sticking with them made sense to me. Yeah, but sure. Basically, and then for some reason, Ethan Hawke, no, what's his name? Jeremy Renner. I was close when I said the wrong names.
Yeah, Hawkeye.
He just gets disgusted at the. I can't shoot civilians. All right, I'm gonna just protect this random group of people right now, and they just stick together for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, he comes down. Because really what he does is he sees Andy in his scope, and so he takes a moment to not shoot Andy because he can tell Andy's not infected. So he goes down there, follows Andy. Andy ends up in the same warehouse off to the side somewhere where everyone else is, and they all meet back up. And the Scarlett, the military doctor lady, is like, Jeremy Renner, why aren't you at your post? And he's like, I could ask you the same thing. And they're like, okay, fair enough. And so then they group up together.
Okay, that sounds right. And he's got a pilot friend that's going to basically meet up with them, Dead Rising style, in a little bit to get evacuate Jeremy Renner out, but Jeremy Renner is going to end up bringing the kids with it as part of that escape plan. So that's the whole that's the catch to this, is that Jeremy Renner has an out for them. He takes this group of survivors and he goes, my pilot buddy will pick us up in this football field that's like 2 miles away, but we got to go get there. So like, let's go. And just more bullshit happens in between here. So the
action-y
big one,
running stuff.
So they end up kind of being in a lull, and then they do. I don't remember when they just decide to nuke the city with a napalm strike. I don't remember. Let me see if I can pull the.
It's when all the even the snipers up on the rooftops are getting attacked by infected because the infection just.
Okay, so that was, I think, the reason I'm asking, because like that was such a big moment of like, so many, all of the characters could survive this, and so many infected survive this. It's like, what the fuck do you mean a firebomb just like killed a couple hundred? Like why are there so many people outsmarting a bomb strike? I don't know.
Yeah, so they full on firebomb the whole city, the safe zone that they're in. They want to just destroy everything. And Superman Zombie Dad survives this. Get this, it's really really clever. It's cool. So they're firebombing the city, and there's a shot of the Super Zombie Dad. You know what he does? He hides around a corner.
Holy shit. I didn't think of that.
That's how, yeah. So, like, if you're ever running from a fire, just know, like, it can't turn 90-degree corners. Except in the previous scenes where it's showing that it's filling every single crevice possible. Ignore all of that and just know that in this scene, because we have Super Zombie Man that we want to survive, the fire just doesn't really want to hurt him. It just doesn't feel like it.
It's
so stupid.
It didn't get paid enough to do it.
Here's the thing, too. I thought of immediately like 2 or 3 super easy, much more plausible ways. Here's the thing, like, it might seem silly to get upset, like this upset. Obviously I'm like cartoonishly upset. It might seem silly to be like this upset by this scene, but something that I value a lot is when a story, when a director, when writers respect the audience. And this movie felt really, really disrespectful.
Dude,
They just, like, I don't know, assume all the people watching this are dumb and just want, like, a Marvel 28 Days Later, which is so stupid, because the whole reason 28 Days Later was phenomenal is because it was such a grounded human story that was about surviving, like, an infected apocalypse, where most zombie movies are just... they're just thrillers. It's like, oh, look at this group of people trying to live, and you don't care too much about the characters. You root for them because they're people, but you don't really care.
They're kind of there to
later,
be killed.
Yeah, exactly. 28 days later, it flipped the script on zombie movies, the zombie genre, in multiple ways. One, inventing the infected, which is a really cool spin on it. And two, making you really, really care about the characters and feeling that it's a human movie. It's a character-driven zombie movie. It's like it was really revolutionary. This movie tanked all of that and destroyed it. They started decently. You go, oh, I can see the dynamic of this family and what might happen. No, they destroy it all. The family barely interacts after the first, like, 10 minutes. Once the dad becomes infected, then it's literally just an action movie with the most spit-in-your-face bullshit, dumbass shit happening. Like the zombie dad ducking around a corner and fire just not touching him. The ways I thought of they could have fixed this are... they showed specifically a scene of a fountain. Just have him go in the water, in the fountain.
Interesting.
Even if you could go, oh, well, the water, I mean, the fire is so hot, it's like napalm, it would just boil the water. Maybe I could suspend my disbelief and go like, well, it's still water, maybe he's protected enough. They're surrounded in a moat, right? This safe zone, like, he's a super smart, genius zombie. They've made a point, like, at this point in the story, they've clearly emphasized they want you to know that the zombie dad is like he's special, he's smart. Make him just jump into the fucking water, like in the moat, in the river. Make him be that smart then. Just go for it. Like, he knows the water will protect him, so he jumps in the river to avoid it. I don't know. Then the other thing they could have done, so after the firebombing, there's a scene where Jeremy Renner and the gang are way out of the city now. They've escaped the firebombing. They're kind of safe. And it cuts back to a scene of, like, on the fringe edge of the city, there's a big gate and a bunch of, like, a little pack of zombies infected survived. And they're, like, pushing on the gate, trying to get out because I guess, they're just still chasing Jeremy Renner and the crew, which is, like, another baffling thing. Like, how are they even keeping up? This doesn't make any sense. Like, the logistics of everything that's happening is so confusing and inconsistent. It just sucks.
It's got that season whatever of Game of Thrones energy where, like, the scale of everything it's just like arbitrarily growing and shrinking to make the plot make sense.
Yeah, good way to put it. The other way they could have fixed this, which they sort of did, is so what they ended up doing is they showed this shot of all this pack of zombies break down the gate and run through, and later there's another scene of the zombies running, and they make a point to show that Zombie Dad is with this crew of zombies. What they needed to do was cut out the part where he's hiding around a corner from the fire and just do a close-up, show a wide shot of the zombies breaking, pounding on the fence, and then do a close-up shot of the dad being part of the pack pounding on the fence. And I'm sorry I'm, like, harping on this so specifically because I can see it so distinctly in my head of how this would look, and I immediately would have gone like, oh, the dad survived, he's with them, okay. Because you already have to go, well, it's plausible that the fire just didn't reach, like, the fringe outer limits of the city, and maybe a handful of zombies survived. That's plausible. I would believe that. I'd be okay with that. And just make a point to show the dad was with them, so he survived that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a distinct, specific moment that they needed to show that would have just solved me feeling assaulted by the movie, thinking that I'm stupid enough to believe that a zombie would just not be hurt by the fire for some reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there are a lot
Sorry
of ways.
to go on that long tangent.
No, look, I want you to feel safe here, Kyle. It's your safe space to feel your feelings,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm in the safe zone, but if there's no guards here, I'm not going to feel safe.
Fuck off. I do say, I agree. I didn't feel that strongly about it, but when you put it out there, it's like, yeah, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense.
What gets me extra mad too, of course, is just that there were solutions that were just as simple as showing that shot of him hiding by the fire. There was 3 shots they could have done in the exact same way, but if they had just fit it within the movie better, it would have been just as easy to fix and been not so insulting.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And then the movie kind of the movie just kind of, well, there's only one other scene that I feel any kind of passion about, and it involves Don again. But I do say that Jerry Renner's character gets fucking one of the most brutal
Jeremy
deaths.
Renner gets Now, here's another thing. I hated this part too. Let me paint the picture for you of why this part was really stupid. And it was a logistical nightmare bullshit that they wrote here. They find a car while they're running away from this like noxious gas that's, I guess, the second layer of defense that the military is doing. First they firebomb everything, then they throw out a nerve gas. They're running from this nerve gas. They find a car, but it won't start. So Jeremy Renner has to get out, and because it's a clutch, it's got a clutch, he's manually pushing the car to get it to a certain speed so they can pop the clutch and get it into first gear. They show that there are guys with like gas masks on and suits and flamethrowers, and they're just kind of sweeping the streets. Number one, I'm thinking is, why are they there? They showed a scene, like they have been running for miles and miles. They're so far away. Why suddenly are these guys there? And why that specific street? And why are they walking so fucking slowly? And if they have firebombs in the jets, why aren't they continuing to firebomb? Why did they deploy 3 dudes with flamethrowers on the ground?
Because they're definitely the cleanup crew of anything we missed, and to burn all the bodies, just to like clean up any extra.
But they're not. You would do that in the city where you firebombed. You wouldn't do that out of the city where you need to cover more ground again.
Look,
it's stupid as this is what I'm saying. It's stupid as fuck when you think about it. So there's these dudes with flamethrowers. They are walking at the most leisurely, unconcerned pace. They're literally walking
on
at
the
like
clock.
1 mile per hour.
They are paid hourly.
Yeah,
dudes.
they are burning the fucking daylight, twilight, whatever the fuck the phrase is. So they're walking, right? And they are easily like 100 yards from this car that they're trying to start. Jeremy Renner gets out of the car. He's pushing the car forward and running and trying to make the car go. And it keeps cutting back to these dudes with the flamethrowers that are almost not moving with how slow they're walking, and they're burning stuff. And it's cutting back and forth, and the cheat code music is playing, and you go, uh-oh, Jeremy Renner's going to get burned up. And Jeremy is pushing the car, and it's going faster and faster, and as he's screaming, like, pop the clutch, go! Then the flamethrower guys burn him. My question to you is, Taylor, let's think about this for a second. How did they catch him?
With their legs?
Jeremy Renner is already 100 yards ahead of them. Then he is running further forward, pushing this car, running. These guys with the flamethrowers are not moving at an increased pace. So the way the scene is set up, physically, where these guys are and how slowly they're moving, they will literally never get closer to Jeremy Renner because they are physically moving faster and they're already farther away. The flamethrower guys teleport.
Interesting. I just assumed
what I'm saying?
They were. I guess I didn't realize they were that far away. I just kind of assumed they were just moving in closer. But my biggest beef with it is that, unless you're obtusely evil, why are you burning what is clearly not an affected person?
Yeah, that too. He's running away and pushing a vehicle. Like, you can't.
You're not asking questions, and then maybe it's because I'm too human, and the idea that like maybe that's how the military acts is truly just like scorched earth. Like, it is easier that way, and maybe that's. I feel like the movie hasn't said that about this military force, though, and that's my problem. Is like, I don't want to keep making this shortcut for you. Come out and say that is what they're doing, and not make me, or
Well, they did and they didn't. By, first they gave the order to kill the infected, then they said, okay, open fire, just kill everybody. So, and then further emphasizing that by firebombing the city, whether there's civilians or not.
But that's also because they didn't have the time to tell the difference. And like, you had the time to tell the difference. Yeah, that's...
Yes.
Ugh, whatever.
So, yeah, you and I are mad about different things, which I did, of course, think that. I was like, why are they burning this guy that's running away from them? And like, you ask that in these movies all the time, where it's like, clearly the person's not infected. Why are you just killing them? And that's the, this idea has been posited in a lot of movies of like just following orders, blindly following orders. But logistically, that scene is so mental. It drives me insane. It's fucking metal.
No, continue. I was going to move off that scene if you were done.
No, it's fine. I emphasize my point. The flamethrower guys teleport, man. It's so dumb.
But like Jeremy Renner just got such a brutal death. Like that dude in particular did nothing but be a good guy, and his reward. Like it's just like everyone in this movie. If you die by infected, it is a miserable, horrible death. And if you don't die that way, your death is worse. I don't know. Everyone who dies like by a non-rage virus person has the worst death in the movie. But eventually,
moving
they go into the tunnel, but it's pitch black, so they have to use night vision to get around. And I think that it's the most annoying way to do it, because why isn't the lady with the night vision giving more clear directions of like, hey, there's a body ahead of you, just be aware. She just keeps says, hold to your left. Okay, but you're not telling them what the fucking corpse there. And then they get freaked out because they're like, Scarlet, and she's like, just keep walking. It's just like the worst instructions, miserable, dumb bitch hour kind of shit, man. I was getting so mad. Like, you're not describing the thing. You have the vision. They can't see what you're seeing. Why aren't you telling them?
Yeah, I mean, even Tammy turns around and is like, Scarlet, help! Give us something. She gets mad too.
And then I think Dawn shows up in the tunnel at some point.
Yeah. So here's another part. It made me very fucking mad. So yeah. They're going down into a pitch black subway system, and there's just bodies everywhere. Tammy and Andy can't see anything. Scarlet has a night vision scope on a gun that she has, and so she's looking through the scope, trying to like guide everybody down these stairs because they can't fucking see anything. Tammy and Andy slip, and they slide down the stairs like maybe 5 or 10 feet, and then they just disappear.
Yeah, Andy Shrep just dissolves, and Tammy is screaming. They're screaming his name, and they show him eventually, but he's just not responsive. He's not saying anything.
This is the shit. This is the stuff that, when piled on top of each other, creates such a frustrating experience. If this was the one hiccup in the movie, or the second, or even the third, maybe I would let it go. But every possible fucking moment, these writers make the dumbest fucking shit happen that you can imagine. The opposite of what any normal human would do in this situation. And it's not a funny thing like, oh, don't go in there, dude, don't go in the room, we know the monster's in there. It's not like that silliness. It's characters that are trying to be portrayed as grounded and realistic and acting like fucking buffoons.
Buffoons. Hell yeah, that's a good one. And also then Scarlet gets killed by blunt force trauma from a rage virus dude. Instead of biting, it beats her to death with the gun.
Yeah. Yeah, so this whole sequence is... I was ripping my hair out watching this. Like, they slide down the stairs 5 feet away, and Scarlet is screaming for their name, and they are saying nothing. And then Scarlet walks forward 2 feet, and suddenly Tammy's like, oh, Scarlet! It's like, you didn't hear me screaming for you when I was just, 2 steps that way? Well, no, we're in a horror movie, so it's gotta be, like, fake tense, and people need to be... And then, like you said, Andy is just actually gone. He went through a fucking portal device. I don't know what happened to him, and not listening to anybody. Then Zombie Dad shows up, grabs the gun from Scarlet, and beats her to death with it, like you said. Tammy, just, I guess, sits there. What even happens to her while her dad is beating this girl to death? Tammy then ends up with the gun. How does
she? The fuck? I don't know. She ends up getting the gun and getting to Andy, but I don't know how.
So, like, yeah, in this nightmare bullshit, like, super zombie dad shows up, kills Scarlett with Tammy right there, but then doesn't kill Tammy, doesn't bite Scarlett, then also leaves the gun again, so then Tammy ends up with the gun, and she's using the night vision to try to find Andy, who they've been screaming for, who won't respond to anybody, even though he's like 15 feet away. Then Zombie Dad finds Andy and attacks him and bites him, but because Andy's got the eyes, like, he doesn't get infected, and then Tammy ends up shooting her dad. Then again, Andy is running away, and Tammy is screaming for him, and he won't stop or answer. He even trips and falls at one point, and Tammy could just, like, oh man, I don't...
Yeah, I'm getting exhausted being annoyed rethinking about it.
Yeah. So this is what happened to me while watching the movie, and now I know to you, where by the end I was just exhausted at the rapid fire pace of idiocy and stupidity that's portrayed.
And then the emotional scene at the end with the dad they do this thing where they say dad or Don or something, and it makes it look like he thinks about when his wife is yelling that at him, and it like makes him mad. And I'm like, what am I supposed to understand from this?
Yeah, you're right. They like cut to his perspective, and there's like a flashback of the mom yelling for Don at the beginning of the movie, and then he gets mad and attacks Tammy, and then Tammy shoots it. Yeah. So like, I don't know. This guy has sentience, clearly, but is also, I don't know.
And you know what I was saying to Brianna,
you can't explain it. You can't
explain it.
Justify any of it.
But I was saying, it's like, I don't even understand the relationship the kids have with the dad either. Of like, what does this mean for the girl besides the I have to shoot my dad? Or like, how does she feel about this? Like, the man, they don't even like reckon with the idea of like, my dad lied about my mom dying. Like that.
Yeah.
That's gotta shake
why? Because this movie is so bad, and they spent so much of it doing action that you forget the last time these two kids talked to their dad was in the beginning scene.
Yep.
Like, after they find their crazy mom and they go back and talk to their dad again, and they're like, you lied to us, she's alive. And he's like, I'm sorry. That's the last time they speak to each other.
Yeah, and that's the exact thing that was driving me nuts, because like, I didn't feel anything about her killing her own dad, because like, I don't know these people. Like, that might have been a stranger to her. Like, that could have been a cousin she's never met. You know what I mean? An uncle she hasn't talked to in 20 years.
Especially because he's been like such a violent, he's infected, and he's been brutally murdering people.
Yeah, and like,
attacked Andy. Like,
she doesn't even kind of talk about like, don't make me shoot you, dad, type of like begging. It's just kind of like oh no, it's dad, bang.
Yeah.
That's
you know what movie did this 10 times better? And I'm sorry. Wow. Hold on. Whoa. I'm so sorry.
Whoa.
28 Days Later is not 10 times better than 28 Weeks Later. It is a number
11.
that cannot be said. It is 11 times better. Yeah. No, it's so much better. Obviously, you remember the scene in 28 Days Later where the dad gets a drop of blood in his eye when he's looking up. Like, that scene, I cry, because it is so well done, and there's so much character building, and you know how much all these people love each other and care for each other, how much they've been through, how much they're like fighting for each other, and for him to just be infected, like, by happenstance, and telling his daughter that he loves her as he's starting to turn, like, oh, that scene, holy fuck, that is how you do that scene. This movie, like you said, there's no connection between any of these characters. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and
all I've watched this guy do is be an asshole and a selfish prick and murder people brutally. Why would I give a fuck if Tammy is shedding a tear having to shoot him? Like,
especially when she's not even giving a compelling reason why you should care. So like,
yeah,
the movie
is a villain.
Yeah. And, like, I think it's, like, as it goes on, he becomes less complex and more just like, oh, wait, he is just the a jerk dad, and that's why I like the Aaron Taylor Johnson Paul the First character in the 28 Years Later. Like, I feel it's almost like what if we did Dawn, that kind of character again, but we're trying some different angles this time.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that angle, yeah.
So it almost feels like 28 Years Later is almost like an apology. Hey, sorry about that last one. Let me do it. But the movie kind of just ends after that, because they leave, and then it like kind of cuts to Jeremy Renner's radio, someone speaking in French, and then Paris
they end up making it to the football field where they were supposed to rendezvous.
Oh, that's right.
The helicopter guy is there. And the guy is like, "Where's everyone else?" And they're like, "It's just us." He's like, "Oh, all right, fine." And then he picks them up. We have to mention obligatory the helicopter blade killing all the zombies.
That sucked,
way earlier in the movie. I liked it. I mean, I thought it was like this is the over the top stuff they needed to commit to in this movie because of how silly it all was.
I found it was a little bit too much for me, and maybe it was because I was starting to realize that I wasn't vibing with the action stuff, that like seeing this, it just feels like this should have been in Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, not 28 blanks later. This just feels totally wild. Like that, I think watching that was exciting, but I'm like, this is not the movie that this makes sense in.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, a bunch of like slow lumbering zombies that can't really move. That would have been a really great scene to like have them just get blendered like that. But yeah, so they meet the helicopter guy. He flies him out of there, and then the ending scene, the epilogue, if you will, is a shot of that helicopter, but like abandoned and clearly kind of disheveled and covered in dust and dirt, like it's been there for a while. And you can hear over the radio in French people saying like, you know, the infected are here. We need help. Someone please come in. And then it cuts to a shot of the group of infected running out from the subway system, which I believe there is a tunnel that connects the mainland Europe to Britain, right? That's what they used.
I don't know. You know more than I do, because I did know.
I think there's a tunnel underneath the ocean that goes. Maybe I'm speaking out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure that, because that's the only way that it would make sense that the infected could get to Europe. So then it cuts to a scene, you see the Eiffel Tower, and then there's like a bunch of zombies running through by it. And so you go, oh, the infection has reached the mainland. Here we go. And that's how the movie ends. So you don't know what happens to any of the characters. You know the infection spreads. And we had to endure an exhausting amount of stupidity to see that.
Yeah, it really sucks. And it ends, and then we didn't get anything for 10 years, so... it's 2.5
years.
because, like I said, the beginning half had a lot of really great moments, and it's all technically awesome. Like, all the action stuff was fun to visually. Like, it was like, it has a look to it, and it was done well. It's just like not what I just didn't. Nah.
Yeah. So that might be what like didn't come across clearly because we're so pissed off at the character choices and the writing, but. Any individual action sequence was well done, except for, I maintain, the Jeremy Renner getting crisped. The logistics of that scene are just so stupid. And if you think about it for 2 seconds, it's like they're so far away and Jeremy Renner is moving faster than them in the opposite direction of them. How the fuck did they get there? They literally teleported. If you dare to go back and watch that scene again, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like it just doesn't make any sense. So other than that actiony bit, the rest of it is cool. Like there's some really cool shots. Like there's an overhead shot of them driving in the car and like whipping around corners and then wanting to drive down an alley and realizing the gas is there and they have to turn around and go back. It was very reminiscent of Land of the Dead, Zack Snyder's, or Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead is the Zack Snyder.
Remember the opening sequence in that movie? It's really cool. They show a kind of overhead bird's eye view panning or like tracking shot of the car zooming around and hitting people, and like it was crazy. They have a similar shot in this. It's cool. There's a sequence where they got to get past a sniper. That's cool. But like, why did they put it in this movie? All this shit could have just been in any other action movie, even any zombie movie.
This is about taint. They should have redone this and make this World War Z instead of whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I'll take that. World War Z had some cool set pieces like this too, but it fits because that movie isn't, holding up the legacy of the 28s. I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's so disappointing.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason it sounds probably evoked more emotion out of you is because of as you said, the legacy of what is expected from considering how good the last one was. So this was a standalone zombie movie. I guarantee you there would be a lot less passion about what was said, but good stuff. That's all I got.
2 stars worth, I guess, for the score and the acting and the cinematography.
I could see. I was oscillating between 2 and 2.5, and I just I can't bring myself to give a movie that technically well constructed a rating below just dead. And if this had even maybe one more sequence that pushed me, I probably would have said something else. But it's just the last third. Take out that last act and the first 2 acts. I don't know. I wouldn't really have that much to complain about.
No, as soon as Don kisses his wife, the movie turns into a fucking shit show, and that's 30 minutes in. For sure,
you're right.
The last 60-70% of the movie is
okay. Let me say,
shit.
the movie which didn't have the violence in it was good, and the movie that did have the violence was less good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for me. I don't want to talk about this stupid movie anymore.
No, me neither. I'm done.
All right. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.